Religious workplace wouldn't give me time off for my grandma's death, by user C_somewhere 2297. This was a few years ago, but I'm still salty about it. I was doing out of school care with kids. I also knew my grandma's health was going downhill. I informed my work in a near future I would need to take some time off and drive the 12 hours to my hometown to see my family. I got a call a few weeks later that the time was coming and I needed to go say my goodbyes. I told my work at first they were fine. Then when I was in my hometown my grandmother passed away. I was very close with her and I took it very hard. My work told me I get my 3 unpaid days off and have to come back after that. Now keep in mind, this is a childcare company that values religion and family, blah blah blah. I told them I was not mentally ready to come back, I didn't want to deal with all the kids' questions, and even when you try to hide your sadness, they know. They are so smart. So I went to a walk-in clinic, explained my situation to my doctor, who was beyond pissed that she even needed to write a note for me to take time off. I told her a week should be fine. She said I'll write 2 weeks just in case. Emailed a copy of the doctor's note to my work and took the full 2 weeks, they were so salty after I came back. Don't sit there and praise your amazing values when you don't have basic human decency. I can't take notes on my computer? Fine, I'll use a typewriter, by user sheepy_dream. So, some backstory. I have a Spanish teacher that absolutely doesn't allow us students to take notes on our computers because we will use them to play games. She has told us we need to take notes on paper, but didn't say with a pen, so I decided to do something I have wanted to do for a long time. You see, I collect typewriters, so I decided to simply use one of those. So a few weeks ago I walked into class and pulled out this beast of a machine, Lectra 860. The teacher was shocked and annoyed, but when I told her we were allowed to take notes on paper she actually let me use it. So I suppose it had a happy ending, for everyone other than mine and my classmates' eardrums. And lucky me, after bringing it to class a total of 7 times and taking very loud notes, we are now allowed to take notes on computers. I convinced my teacher to let me leave class 2 hours early by doing, basically nothing, by user Zoroastrian. For context, I'm attending a trade school right now. The school only enrolls you in 1 class at a time, and each class lasts 3 weeks. The classes are Monday-Friday, and they're 3 hours long, 9:30 to 12:30. The last 2 days of each rotation are exam days, and on those days the teachers will usually let you leave as soon as you finish your exams. I'm currently just over halfway done with school, and I have perfect attendance. I could leave class early without permission, but I would have to take an infraction, which would ruin my perfect attendance. So yesterday, we were doing the online final, the written final, and quiz retakes. I finished everything after about an hour, turned my papers in, and asked, "So am I good to go?" The teacher, who we'll call Mr. D, said no, you need to stay until 12:30. Cue malicious compliance. I decided that instead of absent-mindedly scrolling Reddit for 2 fucking hours, I would mess with the teacher and hopefully make him regret keeping me there for no reason. This particular classroom is set up with 2 long tables for the students to sit at, with the teacher's desk at the end of one of the long tables. I went back to my seat, pulled my chair out, and faced it towards him. I sat down, folded my hands over my lap, and just stared at him. I even tried on a subtle creepy smile. I grew up with strict parents, so I knew that I could have easily kept that up for 2 hours if I wanted to. He glanced my way a few times. He started to look uncomfortable. After just 10 minutes, he finally said, "Oh my God, are you done with everything? All your labs, homework, everything?" "Yes sir." "Okay fine, goodbye, go home." Jesus. I went home and thoroughly enjoyed my victory nap. Change the salary system after start date? More than happy to comply, by user different_scholar 548. Here a little story about a summer job I did a while ago, that y'all might enjoy. This happened a few years back. It was during summer break and I was back home from university, looking for something to do to keep me busy and to earn some cash. I stumbled upon an ad for a local music festival needing help managing their concerts, mostly checking in visitors and also working as a driver. I reached out, said I would be interested and tell them my hourly fee, which I earned from my last job. They answered back rather quickly and told me to start ASAP. Since they didn't argue with me about my proposed hourly rate, I gathered that they've accepted it. Well, a few days after I started working for them, one of the bosses approached me and said they don't exactly do the hourly rate but rather pay a fixed price for a day you worked for them. At first I was annoyed since it would have been much less than I initially thought I would earn, but then I realized, I can just use their own system against them. Want me to go around and hand out flyers to people for 30 minutes? Yep, this will be noted as a whole day. Want me to go collect additional chairs and bring them to the venue for 20 minutes? Yep, another day added. You get my system by now. Ah, that sweet moment, when after the whole gig I handed my registered days calculation to the boss. She looked at it, her eyes turned wide and you could see her thought process on her face calculating. I simply grinned while she realized that her system absolutely backfired with me and they played themselves. I ended up earning more than they would have paid me with the hourly system I proposed. 1 week later I had the money in my bank account. Weirdly enough I never heard back, would have loved to work with them again. If you're late to school, you get half an hour of detention, by user Vio_Amethyst. This policy was enacted by my high school in my last few years. Once classes started the gates were shut, and if you arrived late, you had to sign in at the office. This gave them a list of kids to pick out at the end of the day, and we would have to sit in detention for half an hour. But it was only ever half an hour, no matter how late you were. Cue me and my best friend enjoying our extended lions in the morning, then walking into town to hit up McDonald's or Subway for breakfast, before casually strolling in between 2 and 3 hours late, signing in, and just happily accepting the extra half an hour detention at the end of the day. It took them a full month to catch on to us. At which point the late policy was changed and we were given a full week's worth of detention each, which A, absolutely did not make up for the time lost, and B, was well worth it for the best month of high school we'd ever had. It's safe to say the two rebel teenagers won that round.